I'm Chris Farrell, and this is On Watch. President Trump is exonerated and vindicated. Special Counsel Mueller turned over his report to Attorney General Barr just in the last couple of days. Mr. Barr has reviewed the material along with the Office of Legal Counsel and Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein. They've issued their 4-page summary to the world, but to Congress, explaining that the special counsel found no collusion, no coordination, no conspiracy, none of the lies you've been told for the last 2+ years. And secondly, that there was no obstruction, because of course if there's no underlying crime, how in the world can you possibly obstruct something that didn't happen? That's being glossed over by some people or exaggerated grossly. But nonetheless, President Trump has been exonerated and vindicated. So now what? What are the consequences? First, I want to just kind of reinforce in your minds that what Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton and yours truly have been telling you for the last 2+ years is true. We told you so. Through the excellent work of the entire staff here at Judicial Watch, our lawyers, our investigators, our media people, investigative reporters, the entire crew here at Judicial Watch has fearlessly and doggedly gone after the truth. We've uncovered records and documents that no one else has made public. We've helped to provide real documentation, real evidence, real proof that what was going on at the Department of Justice, the FBI, the actions and conduct of former CIA Director Brennan, Mr. Clapper at the DNI, is really an insidious and grave threat to the Constitution, that they engaged in a form of, I hesitate to use the word legal, but it was a legal mechanism. They used a legal coup against the president, and thank goodness, unsuccessfully. Also thank goodness that Mr. Mueller, and despite his 19 leftist attorneys, had enough intellectual honesty and enough respect for the law to come up with the conclusions that they did. We can ask ourselves, how did we get here? I think my colleague Tom Fitton and I have explained to you over the last 2 years exactly how we got here. That there was an abusive process, an abuse of law, an abuse of the intelligence collection systems that our country has, in a very determined, decided conspiracy to overturn the results of an election. And we've documented that like no one else has. We've obtained materials Congress couldn't get. We obtained materials that the Department of Justice and FBI were seeking to hide. We've used our legal system. We've used the open records laws. We've conducted interviews and investigations. And when you put that all together, everything that we've been telling you for the last 2 years finally now has been validated, proven, confirmed. In this case, it's very nice to be able to look into the camera and tell you, I told you so. This is exactly what we've been trying to get across to the American public for some time. And so while President Trump has been exonerated and vindicated, there's also some sense of satisfaction here at Judicial Watch that our work has been validated and our efforts have been vindicated as well. There's going to be a lot of haggling and histrionics and drama by people like Adam Schiff and others, certainly elements within the mainstream media, cable news channels, to try to, yeah, but, or what if, or how about this story. There'll be attempts to deconstruct it and unwind it and punch holes. That's fine. Frankly, if they're going to consume their time doing that, let them. They'll only prove themselves. They're digging a hole. They'll dig their way all the way through to the planet's core in that regard. But the larger question is what's going to be done with respect to pursuing all those abuses of law enforcement and intelligence techniques in this unlawful act against the president? There's quite a litany of shame that I've talked about before. There's the whole Brennan, Clapper, Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Page, and there's at least another dozen names of persons who have either been retired, resigned, fired. In some way, they're no longer in government service. But it's quite a cast of characters, and they wielded enormous power through both law enforcement and intelligence means against the president. And they did so all predicated on a lie. And so now it's up to Mr. Barr to really pursue this. There's even a larger question, though, and that is we identified all these actors, this litany of shame that I referred to, all these folks that I just rattled off. But really, I think the most important thing for you to think about and for our elected officials to look at, and of course, Attorney General Barr, is a text message from Lisa Page to Peter Strzok in September 2016. And in that text message, she explains to Strzok that she is preparing talking points, like a PowerPoint presentation, bullet points, to brief Director Comey on this entire lie, this false narrative, this phony attempt to go after the Trump campaign, the Trump transition, and then the Trump administration. In that text message, Lisa Page sends to Strzok, she writes, quote, "POTUS wants to know everything we're doing," close quote. POTUS in that regard, of course, is President of the United States. And at the time she texted that, it was Barack Obama. Barack Obama has to answer for all of this. His FBI, his Department of Justice, his CIA, his Director of National Intelligence, we know that they all conspired to conduct an unlawful, really legal and intelligence attack against President Trump and a circle of folks that were associated with him. It's indisputable. We have also calendar references of Andrew McCabe running over to the White House to brief Lisa Monaco. And so there's a very, very high reach back up into the Obama administration concerning not just the supposed intelligence threats and concerns over election integrity from foreign actors, which apparently Mr. Obama did little or nothing about. In fact, he ridiculed, Mr. Obama's on the record, ridiculing the idea that any foreign power could hack the presidential election because the nature of how we conduct our elections are so decentralized. They're essentially conducted and operated at the county level. Now they're compiled and in some way, the election input is built and sent to each of the states, and then they go on and ratify it. But when it comes to actual vote counts, it's a county level operation. And so Mr. Obama's on the record ridiculing the idea that anyone could actually hack the US election. And there's absolutely no evidence, zero, that any vote totals were changed anywhere. Again, more the false narrative you've been fed for 2+ years, the lies, the misinformation, the false and misleading statements. Mr. Obama has to answer for this. He has to answer for what he was briefed on, when, by who. Because, as Lisa Page said, POTUS wants to know everything we're doing. So now it's time for a little accountability. Now it's time to walk back and say, we've been through a 2.5-year nightmare, grossly false, misleading, disingenuous, and outright illegal, corrupt conduct by any number of officials, both in the government and then recently retired. And in this case, I'm talking about an example would be Director Comey, and then someone recently retired, think about Clapper or Brennan. But very senior officials who engaged in this unlawful conduct. It can't just slide. It can't be, oh well, next time will be better. There's got to be accountability. There's got to be an investigation, and there should be prosecutions should the investigative evidence warrant that. And most importantly, we need to understand fully what Lisa Page meant when she wrote, POTUS wants to know everything we're doing. This harkens back to the Watergate era with Senator Baker saying, what did the president know and when did he know it? And that line rang over and over again from 1973 forward. It's become almost a cliche, but it's no longer a cliche because we have documentary evidence of an attorney at the FBI communicating with other senior officials, briefing the director of the FBI, preparing talking points, telling super agent Strzok, who found himself involved in virtually every angle of every investigation tied into this whole conspiracy, affirmatively stating that the President of the United States wanted to know what was going on. Mr. Obama has got to answer. He needs to go under oath, and he needs to have his calendar looked at, and he also needs to there needs to be accountability on the other side with respect to those persons who are going in and briefing him. What did they tell him? If he was aware of a threat and did nothing, and then became aware of this conspiracy to overturn an election, both going into it and then on the backside of it, why was there no proactive measures taken? Why were there no proactive measures to protect the election? And then secondarily, or actually primarily, with all this criminality, all this corruption within law enforcement and the intelligence services, what exactly did he know was being done? According to Lisa Page, it's everything. And that's in the context of her preparing talking points for Director Comey to go brief the president. There's the accountability. That's what needs to be uncovered and revealed. And you can rest assured, just as we have for the last 2.5 years, unwinding this phony lie against President Trump, that we will continue into the future to pursue every investigative angle available to us. We will use every lawful means to gather facts, gather documents and records, go to court and sue where necessary, and provide this information to the American public. Because as our motto states, no one is above the law, but no one's beneath the law either. And that's what we've seen with respect to President Trump and the circle of persons around him who were really the victims of a corrupt campaign orchestrated out of the most senior levels of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies. So, POTUS wants to know everything we're doing. Okay, Lisa Page. Okay, Director Comey. Let's find out, what exactly did he know? When? How much? Did he know about phonied up Pfizer warrants? Did he know about electronic surveillance? Did he know about unmasking on a scale never before seen? These have got to be answered. Those questions are absolutely imperative. Trust that Judicial Watch will pursue every single lead. I'm Chris Farrell, on Watch.